Who the hell are you? She smiled like a fox. You're not the only one who got a do-over, you know. Then she kissed me. This time around, the untouchable queen of our school became my personal, very clingy ghost from a life I'd already lived. And I think I've fallen right into her beautifully laid, sweet trap. I died. To be precise, I, Leo Carter, a 28-year-old programmer, died at my desk after a 72-hour coding marathon. Everything went black, and when I opened my eyes again, young man, focus on your test. My head snapped up, hitting the edge of the desk with a dull thud. The sound of frantic scribbling filled the room. A poster on the wall read, Academic Honesty, and on the desk in front of me was a calculus final. Oh, hell no. I was back in high school. I looked down at myself, a faded blue and white school-issue polo, a rubber band on my wrist, hands so young they looked like they'd never typed a line of code. This was my 18-year-old body. 15 minutes remaining. The proctor's voice sent a jolt through me. I stared at the hieroglyphics on the test paper, my mind a complete blank. Derivatives? I learned that in college. Matrix transformations? I dumped that knowledge years ago. Ahem. A soft cough came from in front of me and to my right. I instinctively looked up. The sight of a high ponytail made my heart skip a beat. Chloe Anderson, she was the girl at our high school, the one I'd had a hopeless crush on for 3 years without ever saying a word. And she was turning around. She actually turned around and winked at me. What the hell? Chloe Anderson was flirting with me during a final. In my first life, she never even looked in my direction. I quickly looked down, pretending to solve a problem, my palms slick with sweat. I could handle being reborn, but what was with this fanfiction-level rewrite of the past? When the final bell rang, I collapsed in my chair. Reborn just to fail my high school finals. This was the worst superpower ever. Leo Carter. A scent of citrus drifted over. I looked up. Chloe was standing by my desk, twirling a strand of hair around her finger. Did you get that last bonus problem? I was stunned. First, Chloe knew my name. Second, she was talking to me. Third, she was wearing a light blue button-down with a pale yellow skirt, 100 times more beautiful than I remembered. I stammered, feeling about as smooth as a dial-up modem. My feet are killing me, she said, pouting suddenly. She kicked her Converse sneaker toward my foot. Give them a rub. The classroom went silent. A couple of guys nearby looked like their eyes were about to pop out. My ears were hot enough to fry an egg. Chloe, are you feeling okay? You weren't so formal last week in gym class when you stepped on my foot, she said, tilting her head with a sly, foxy smile. I was completely lost. I've been sick last week and skipped gym to go to a coding competition. In the hallway, she suddenly grabbed my wrist. It's dark, hold my hand. Dude, it's broad daylight. I tried to pull away, but she laced her fingers through mine. Her fingers were cool, the touch so real it couldn't be a dream. Leo Carter, she whispered, leaning so close her breath tickled my ear. That intro to Python book under your pillow. What chapter are you on? The blood froze in my veins. I didn't buy that book until college. Who are you? I asked, my voice trembling. She smiled and pushed me against the wall. Holy crap. She was pinning me against the wall. She stood on her toes, her lips almost touching my ear. I've had my eye on you since you were 7 at the community center computer camp, when you stole my pack of gushers. My knees went weak. My own parents didn't know about that. And Chloe was in the dance class next door. Believe me now? She stepped back, her eyes sparkling like stars. You're not the only one who got a do-over, you know. I was still in a daze on the way home. Chloe slipped a note into my hand. Rooftop before homeroom tomorrow. Be there. Back at my house, I dug on my old photo albums. And there it was. In the corner of a group photo from the community center, there was a little Chloe Anderson with pigtails. And there I was, clutching a model of a computer motherboard. And sneaking a glance at her, my phone buzzed. A picture message from an unknown number. It was a photo of me from the exam room today, looking completely lost. The caption read, "The hunted should at least look the part, silly." I stared at the screen and grinned like an idiot. This life was going to be different. The next day, I got to school half an hour early. The door to the rooftop was slightly ajar. Chloe was sitting on the ledge, swinging her legs. Right on time, she said, tossing me a can of Coke. Figure out how you're going to pass the English listening exam today. I caught the cold can. You even know I suck at English. I know a lot of things, she said, squinting. Like how your Instagram password is Chloe's birthday plus pie. I choked on my Coke, spraying it everywhere. That was the password I said in my sophomore year of college. Don't freak out. She reached out and gently wiped the soda from the corner of my mouth. Last time, when you anonymously paid my mom's medical bills, you forgot to hide your IP address. My heart clenched. That was years after I graduated. So this time, she said, grabbing my tie and pulling me down toward her, it's my turn to chase you. As her lips met mine, I could hear the music from morning announcements starting downstairs. The kiss tasted like sweet soda and all the regrets of a lifetime. Wait. I pushed her away, my face beet red. If we both got to do over, why me? Chloe tilted her head. Because last time, you were the only one. The only one what? The only one who helped when my mom got sick without asking for anything in return, she said, poking my forehead. You were just a dumb, sweet guy who secretly crushed on me for 10 years and never had the guts to say it. My mouth hung open, but no words came out. Stop spacing out. She handed me a tiny Bluetooth earbud. English exam today. Channel 87. 6. Is this going to work? I hacked into the school district server, she said with a wink. This time I've got you back. When the exam started, the answers came through the earbud, clear as day. As I filled in the bubbles, I glanced over at Chloe. She was making a goofy face at me. A do-over was pretty damn great. After the English exam, I felt like I was floating. Chloe Anderson actually hacked the school district server. That was even more unbelievable than being reborn. Hey, what are you daydreaming about? Chloe bounced up from behind and slapped me on the back. Come on, I'll buy you ice cream. I almost choked on my own spit. The ice queen from my past life was buy me ice cream. This script was completely flipped. What is it you want? I asked, taking a cautious step back. Just so you know, I don't have any money for you to scam. Chloe rolled her eyes. Leo, besides the programming books under your pillow, you also have 3 copies of 17 magazine with guides on how to talk to your crush. You want me to recite the publication dates. I was ready to fall to my knees right there. I bought those in college. How do you even know that? Rebirth perks, she said, shaking her head smugly, her ponytail swishing back and forth. I also know you wrote Chloe is so pretty 7 times in your middle school journal. My face felt hot enough to cook on. Chloe, that's a total invasion of privacy. Oh, please, she said, leaning in so close I could count her eyelashes. How many pictures did you secretly take of me last time? 365. A full year's worth. My knees buckled. This woman was terrifying. At the convenience store near the school, Chloe bought 2 ice cream cones. I was about to pull out my wallet when she slapped my hand away. I said it's my treat. It's just. This isn't like you, I mumbled, scratching my head. Last time, you wouldn't even accept a bottle of water from me. Chloe froze for a second, a shadow passing over her eyes. Well, I have to make up for it this time. Before I could think about what that meant, she shoved a cone into my hand. Hurry up and eat it. It's melting. I fumbled to grab it, but still got a smear of vanilla ice cream on my nose. Chloe reached out, her fingertip gently brushing against my skin. You're such a dork, she whispered. Then, she put her finger in her mouth and licked the cream off. My brain shut down. This was straight out of some cheesy rom-com. No exams this afternoon. Want to hit up the land center? She asked, her eyes sparkling. What, huh? I'm taking you to play some games, she said, grabbing my arm and pulling me along. And I'll teach you a few real skills while we're at it. At the gaming cafe, Chloe booked a private room. I was so nervous my palms were sweating. Being alone in a room with her was something I wouldn't have even dared to dream about in my past life. Watch closely, she said, her fingers flying across the keyboard as lines of code streamed across the screen. These are some hacking basics. My eyes widened. Were you a secret agent in your past life? Idiot, she said, tapping me on the head. I was a grad student in computer science. Then how did you? Car crash, she said casually, her hands never stopping. My biggest regret before I died was not getting my hands on you sooner. A sharp pain shot through my chest. Don't look at me like that. She suddenly pulled up the school's database. Look, here's the seating chart for tomorrow's exam. The screen showed me sitting 3 classrooms away from her. Too far, she muttered, her fingers clattering on the keyboard. After a refresh, our names were right next to each other, one behind the other. Is that a good idea? What's there to be afraid of? She said with a wicked grin. What's the point of a second chance if you don't use the cheat codes? Just then, the door swung open. A guy with slick back hair stood there, his face dark. Thompson, the student body president. Chloe, the homeroom teacher is looking for you, he said, his eyes darting between us. What are you two doing in here? Studying, Chloe replied without batting an eye. Leo's English is terrible. Zach sneered. Studying with the door closed? Chloe suddenly stood up and slung an arm around my neck. Actually, we're dating. You want to report us? I nearly slid off my chair. Zach's face turned livid, and he slammed the door on his way out. Are you crazy? I hissed. What if he actually tells a teacher? Chloe calmly typed on her keyboard. Look, he's heading to the cafe's bathroom, not back to school. The cafe's security camera footage popped up on the screen. Sure enough, Zach was walking toward the restrooms. You can even hack this. Piece of cake, she said, closing the window. But we need to be careful with that guy. He caused a lot of trouble last time. On the way home, my head was still spinning. Rebirth, hackers, the school's most popular girl chasing me. The plot twists were getting out of control. See you tomorrow, Chloe said, waving at the street corner. And wear that blue t-shirt. I like that one. How do you know what clothes I have? Silly, she said with a laugh as she ran off. It's the fifth one from the left, on the third shelf of your closet. At dinner, my mom suddenly asked, Leo, how have your studies been going lately? Pretty good. Your teacher called today, said you made a lot of progress, my dad said, pushing up his glasses. But we haven't hired a tutor for you, have we? I nearly dropped my chopsticks. A tutor, a girl with the last name Anderson. Said the school arranged it, my mom said with a frown. She seems to know you really well. Even knew you like spicy food. I coughed up a mouthful of rice. Chloe, what the hell have you been doing? After dinner, I bolted to my room. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Chloe. Remember to pay the tutoring fee. $200 an hour, 20% off for a monthly plan. My hands were shaking with rage. Are you insane? Why did you go to my house? Just getting to know my future in-laws. I buried my face in my pillow and screamed. This woman was a menace. At 10 o'clock, my phone lit up again. Chloe, come downstairs. I'm outside. I tiptoed out of the house and saw her standing under the streetlight. It's late. Shoo. She grabbed my hand and pulled me toward the community garden. I want to show you something. On a park bench, she opened her laptop. This is Zach Thompson's private Twitter account. The screen was filled with venomous posts, and several of them were about Chloe and me. No way Leo Carter deserves her. He's a total loser. Chloe will be mine eventually. A chill went down my spine. This guy's a psycho. He was even worse last time, Chloe said, closing the laptop. His dad is on the school board, so he could mess with college applications? The realization hit me. Chloe nodded. Last time, he changed your preferred major on your application. It felt like I'd been struck by lightning. No wonder I got into a third-rate college despite my grades being decent. It won't happen this time, she said, taking my hand. I'm here. A cool breeze blew past, carrying her faint citrus scent. I realized that in this life, there was a light in Chloe's eyes. Chloe, what else? What else do you know? She was quiet for a moment, enough to make sure you're happy this time. Under the streetlight, her profile was incredibly gentle, a world away from the cool, distant girl I remembered. See you tomorrow, she said, standing up. She gave me a quick peck on the cheek. Make sure you dream about me. I sat on the bench, stunned, long after she was gone. A do-over was great. It was just a little too intense for my heart to handle. The day the SAT scores were released, the entire senior class went wild, tearing up textbooks and cheering. I was packing my bag when Chloe jumped on my back from behind, her arms wrapped around my neck. Leo Carter. We're free, she yelled in my ear, making it ring. Get off. I fumbled, trying to pry her off, my hand accidentally brushing her leg before I snatched it back like it was electrified. Chloe jumped down with a mischievous grin and leaned in close. You touched it, you bought it. You have to take responsibility. My face flushed. Who touched you? Don't play innocent, she said, poking me in the chest. In your last life, you had a folder on your drive called Study Materials. Should I tell everyone the password? I was ready to surrender on the spot. That was my deepest, darkest secret from college. Chloe, if you keep this up, I'm calling the cops. Go ahead, she said, smugly waving her phone. I even remember the date you watched your first dirty movie, July 15th, 2009, at 3 in the afternoon. I slapped my hand over her mouth. Okay, Grandma, I give up. The class president suddenly shouted through a megaphone. Sign-ups for the senior trip? 3 days, 2 nights at the beach. Co-ed rooms. We're in. Chloe raised her hand high, then winked at me. 1 room. The entire class went silent. The murderous glares from every single guy were focused on me. My knees went weak, and I nearly collapsed. It's not what you think. Chloe linked her arm through mine. It's exactly what you think. She was trying to get me killed. On the way home, I walked with my head hung low like a condemned man. Chloe, you're going to get me jumped in a back alley. What are you afraid of? She said, nonchalantly chewing a piece of bubble gum. Zach and his friends can't beat you. Huh. You trained in Krav Maga for 4 years in college, she said, blowing a big bubble. You were still pretty bad, but good enough to handle them. I was speechless. How do you know that too? I told you, she said, suddenly turning to face me and cupping my face in her hands. Last time, I was always watching you. Her gaze was so intense, it made my heart skip a beat. 3 days later, on the bus, Chloe insisted we sit in the very back row, claiming the view was better. As soon as the bus started moving, she leaned her head on my shoulder and fell asleep. Sunlight streamed through the window, casting tiny shadows from her eyelashes onto her cheek. I sat perfectly still, not daring to move, my senses filled with the scent of her shampoo. This was a scenario I wouldn't have even dared to dream of in my past life, and now. Wipe your drool, Chloe mumbled, her eyes still closed. I'm not drooling. She snuggled closer into my side with a smile. Let me sleep for a bit. I was up late last night. Doing what? Hacking the travel agency's booking system, she yawned. How else do you think we got assigned the same room? I nearly shot out of my seat. Chloe, that's a crime. We're already breaking the laws of reality by being here. Her voice trailed off. It'd be a waste not to. We arrived at the hotel in the evening. When the front desk clerk handed me the key card, my hand was shaking like I had Parkinson's. You're pathetic, Chloe said, snatching the card. It's not like I'm going to eat you. The moment the hotel room door closed, I pressed myself against the wall like a hostage. Chloe tossed her bag on the bed and started taking off her jacket. WH, what are you doing? Changing, she said, looking innocent. You going to supervise my shower, too? I quickly turned to face the wall. Be my guest. Take your time. I heard her laugh, then the click of the bathroom door and the sound of running water. I collapsed onto the bed, feeling like I was about to have a heart attack. My phone buzzed. A text from Chloe. The door's not locked. My hand jerked, and the phone hit me square in the face. This woman was a succubus. When she came out of the bathroom, I had wrapped myself in the comforter like a burrito, clinging to the very edge of the bed. Leo, Carter, she said, standing beside me. Turn around. I squeezed my eyes shut. I'm asleep. Liar. She ripped the covers off me. I need to talk to you about something serious. I saw then that she had changed into pajamas, long-sleeved, full-length pants, with every button done up to her chin. Disappointed? She asked with a raised eyebrow. Who's disappointed? She sat cross-legged on my bed and opened her laptop. Look at this. On the screen was an encrypted folder named ZT. All the dirt on the Thompson family, she said in a low voice. Last time, it wasn't just Zach who messed with us. It was his father and his uncle, too. I leaned in to look. The folder was full of financial statements and scan contracts. Where? Where did you get all this? A hacker has her sources, she said, quickly scrolling through the files. Their family is laundering money. A lot of it. A question suddenly occurred to me. Chloe, what exactly did you do in your past life? Her fingers paused. I'll tell you later. You can't tell me now. I'm afraid I'll scare you off, she said, closing the laptop. Come on, the bonfire on the beach is starting. On the beach, our classmates were already gathered in a circle. The class president was torturing a guitar, and a few girls were roasting marshmallows. Leo, the captain of the football team, waved me over. Come on, show us a talent. I was about to refuse when Chloe pushed me forward. He's an amazing dancer. The whole class cheered. I turned to glare at her. Since when can I dance? You learned last time, she whispered. The waltz. You practiced for 3 months for the senior prom. My heart pounded. Only I knew about that. The music started, and Chloe was already standing in front of me, gracefully extending her hand. Under the moonlight, she looked like a painting. "Don't tell me you forgot this too," she murmured. My arm moved stiffly around her waist, and miraculously, my body started to move on its own. Turns, steps. The muscle memory was waking up. "See?" Chloe looked up at me. "Your body remembers better than you do." Our classmates were clapping and cheering, but all I could see were the stars reflected in her eyes. In that moment, I started to believe in fate. Hey, not bad. A grating voice cut through the moment. Zach, flanked by a few of his friends, walked over, holding a beer. "Thanks for the compliment," I said, instinctively moving Chloe behind me. "I hear you two are sharing a room," Zach sneered. "Getting pretty wild, huh?" Chloe started to step forward, but I stopped her. "Zach, how's your dad doing these days?" His expression changed. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing," I said, feigning nonchalance. "Just heard the school board is going through an audit. Must be busy, right?" Zach looked like he'd swallowed a bug. He leaned in close. "Leo, don't think you can get cocky just because you have Chloe watching your back." "She's not watching my back," I said with a smile. "I'm watching hers." The words sounded hollow even to me, but seeing the look on Zach's face made it worth it. After the bonfire, Chloe kept looking at me strangely. "What? Is there something on my face?" "You were really cool back there," she said suddenly. "Completely different from last time." I scratched my head. Maybe it's a rebirth buff. Back in the room, Chloe went to shower first. On a whim, I glanced at her laptop. The encrypted folder was still on the desktop. Curiosity killed the cat. I clicked on the folder, and a password box popped up. I tried Chloe's birthday, then mine. Both were wrong. As a joke, I typed "Leo Carter is awesome." It actually registered as an incorrect attempt, with 2 tries remaining. "What are you doing?" Chloe's voice came from behind me. My hand slipped, and the laptop let out a piercing alarm. A red warning flashed on the screen. "Intrusion detected." "Idiot." Chloe lunged forward and slammed the laptop shut. "You triggered the self-destruct sequence." "The what?" She quickly typed a string of code, and the alarm stopped. I braced myself for a lecture, but she just laughed. "If you wanted the password, you could have just asked," she said with a wink. "It's Chloe loves Leo." My heart stopped. "Just kidding," she poked my forehead. "It's 071520009. It took me a second to realize. It was the date I watched my first dirty movie. This woman was the devil. "Go to sleep," she said, turning off the lights and getting in her bed. "We have to get up early for the sunrise." In the darkness, I lay board straight, listening to the sound of her steady breathing. "Leo," she said softly, "I'll protect you this time. I promise." I didn't dare ask what this time meant, but somewhere deep inside me, a wall had quietly crumbled. 4. The day the university acceptance letters arrived, Chloe kicked open my front door and charged in. "Leo Carter, we got into the same school." She waved 2 thick envelopes in the air and basically tackled me on my bed. My mom, holding a tray of sliced apples, froze in the doorway. Her expression shifted from shock to approval in about a second. "Should I come back later?" "Hi, Mrs. Carter." Chloe shot up like a spring, instantly transforming into a perfect lady. I was just helping Leo with his acceptance letters. I lay on the bed, my will to live gone. This woman could switch personas faster than a chameleon changes colors. Once my mom left, Chloe immediately reverted to her true form, pouncing on me and playfully choking me. "See, computer science and finance, the perfect couple's majors." Cough. "I'm dying." I clawed at her hands. "You could have gotten into MIT. Why did you apply to the same state school as me?" "Duh," she said, letting go and plopping down on my legs. "To keep an eye on you, obviously." My ears burned. "Who needs you to—" "You do," she said, ticking off on her fingers. "Freshman year, the senior girl who asked you out. Sophomore year, the freshman who sent you love letters. Junior year, your female boss at your internship." Stop. I clamped my hand over her mouth. "How do you know all that?" She wiggled her head smugly. "Rebirth perks." On move-in day, Chloe pulled up to my house in a small, red sports car. My jaw nearly hit the pavement. "Where did you get a car?" "It's my dad's," she said nonchalantly. "Get in." I found out on the way that this small sports car was a Porsche 911. I gripped the seatbelt for dear life. "Chloe, what does your family do?" "They're in business," she said, expertly weaving through traffic. "I didn't tell you last time because..." "Because what?" I was afraid it would make you insecure. She glanced at me. You were really sensitive back then. I fell silent. She was right. In my past life, my pride was ridiculously fragile. Doesn't matter now, though, she said, suddenly reaching over to ruffle my hair. You're not escaping my grasp this time around. At the dorm, Chloe pulled 2 large suitcases out of the trunk. Come on, let me help you move in. Wait, girls aren't allowed in the guys' dorms. Who says? She pulled out her phone and tapped it a few times. See, I'm now the RA's cousin, here to help with cleaning. I had no words. When my new roommates saw Chloe, they all froze. This is my girlfriend, I said, deciding to just own it. Hope we all get along. Chloe smiled sweetly and added each of them on Instagram. Please take care of my Leo. The second my roommates drifted out in a daze, I locked the door. Chloe, what are you planning now? Establishing my territory, she said matter-of-factly, then started inspecting my bunk. This spot's good. Right under the AC. Wait, you're not planning on staying here, are you? In your dreams, she said, rolling her eyes. But I'll be stopping by for daily inspections. My world went dark. I could already see the next 4 years of my life being lived under tyranny. College life was more intense than I'd imagined. On the first day of classes, Chloe was waiting for me outside my lecture hall. Come on, I'll walk you. You don't have to. I can find it. You got lost 3 times in your past life, she said, grabbing my arm. You couldn't even find your own apartment building. You have no sense of direction. People kept turning to stare at us as we walked. It made sense. A girl who looked like a supermodel dragging along a guy with dead fish eyes was bound to draw attention. Lunch together, she said, waving from the entrance to my building. Don't even think about bailing. I'll put a tracker on your phone. I had no words. The first class in the computer science department was Intro to Programming. 5 minutes in, I was already yawning. I knew all of this. You there, the professor suddenly pointed at me. Come up and write a program for the Fibonacci sequence. I walked up to the board in a daze, but my fingers moved as if they had their own memory, clattering on the keyboard and producing a string of perfect code. The classroom murmured in amazement. The professor pushed up his glasses. What's your name, son? Leo Carter. Very good, he nodded. There's a national programming competition next month. You'll represent our department. My knees felt weak. In my past life, I hadn't even made it past the first round. When the bell rang, I fled the classroom, only to run into Zach Thompson on the stairs. Well, if it isn't the great Leo, he said sarcastically. Looks like latching onto the right person really pays off. That's when I noticed the student government pin on his shirt. Crap, he got into this school too. Excuse me, I said, not wanting to deal with him. What's the rush? He blocked my path. Did you know Chloe's family owns Anderson Corp? My heart jolted. Anderson Corp, the multi-billion-dollar tech giant? Looks like you didn't, Zach smirked. Her father, Charles Anderson, is on the Forbes list. You really think she's into you? You're just a toy. My fists clenched. That's none of your business. Don't get mad, he said, patting my shoulder. I'm just curious. When she gets bored and dumps you, are you going to cry? I grabbed him by the collar, but then I heard Chloe's voice. Leo. She jogged over and linked her arm through mine naturally. Who's this? Zach's expression changed instantly. Hi, Chloe. I'm Zach Thompson, Vice President of the Student Government. Oh, Chloe said coolly, then tugged my arm. Let's go. Time for lunch. Once we were a few steps away, she whispered, What did he say to you? Nothing, I mumbled. In the dining hall, Chloe piled my plate high with food. Eat up. You ate nothing but instant ramen last time. It ruined your stomach. I stared at her. Chloe, is your dad Charles Anderson? Her chopsticks paused. Zach told you. Yeah. He is, she said, putting her chopsticks down. I didn't tell you last time because my family was poor. Because you would have avoided me, she said, looking me straight in the eye. Your pride was so fragile. After you found out my family had money, you wouldn't even accept a bottle of water from me. I couldn't argue. She knew me too well. This time is different, she said, taking my hand. I've already claimed you. There's no escape. My face flushed, and I pulled my hand away. We're in public. Shy, she teased, leaning closer. We could go find a more private spot. Just to eat. With no classes in the afternoon, Chloe dragged me to the library. I was looking for a book when I heard someone gasp. Oh my God. Who wrote this algorithm? It's genius. A group of upperclassmen from the CS department were crowded around a computer. I curiously peeked over. On the screen was a sophisticated image recognition program. Someone posted it anonymously on the department forum. One of them said, "The rumor is a freshman wrote it." I looked closer. Hell, that was a program I developed after I started working in my past life. I turned to look at Chloe, who was winking at me. I instantly understood. "You posted it." "Uh-huh," she whispered. "Just building up your reputation in advance." "Are you crazy? This program shouldn't even exist yet. What's the point of a do-over if you don't use the cheat codes?" she said, completely unrepentant. When I got back to my dorm that night, my roommates looked at me differently. "Leo, my man," my roommate Barry exclaimed, "you're a hidden genius. Did you really write that program on the forum?" I had no words. "The president of the computer science club personally invited you to join," my other roommate, Sam, said, holding up his phone. "He wants to take you to dinner tomorrow." I was about to refuse when a message from Chloe popped up. "Say yes. The president is Zach's cousin. We need to get close to him." My hand trembled. How many steps ahead was this woman? Late that night, I lay in bed, tossing and turning. My phone lit up. It was a selfie from Chloe. She was in her pajamas, with the girls' dorm in the background. "Miss you." I grinned stupidly at the photo and replied, "We just saw each other 2 hours ago." 2 hours and 6 minutes, she replied instantly. "Every second feels like a year." My heart hammered in my chest. This was the kind of thing I could only dream of in my first life. "Leo," another message came through. "I'll protect you this time. I promise." There was that phrase again. I had a feeling that whatever she was hiding was much more serious than I could ever imagine. At the Computer Science Club's welcome event, the president, Mark Thompson, Zach's cousin, walked over to me with a glass of champagne. "Leo, I've heard so much about you," he said, clapping me on the shoulder enthusiastically. "That image recognition program on the forum was incredible." I gave a weak, awkward laugh. "You're too kind. You're definitely entering the national programming competition next month, right?" He leaned in. "My uncle is one of the judges. It'll be easy to win." I frowned. In my past life, that competition was notoriously corrupt. I was targeted specifically because I refused to cheat. "Thanks, but I'd rather rely on my own skills." Mark's smile faltered. "A man of principle, but," he lowered his voice, "hasn't Chloe told you? The competition is a minefield." My stomach tightened. "What do you mean?" "Nothing," he said, patting my shoulder again. "Just wishing you luck." Chloe appeared behind me, as if from nowhere, holding 2 glasses of juice. "What are you two talking about?" "Nothing," I said, taking a glass. Mark was just being welcoming. She narrowed her eyes at me. "You're lying. Your ears are red. Damn it. How did this woman know everything?" On the way back to the dorm, Chloe was glued to her phone. I tried to peek, but she immediately locked the screen. "What are you looking at? What are you hiding from me?" "You first," she shot back. I sighed and told her what Mark had said. Chloe's expression grew colder and colder. "I knew it," she muttered, biting her lip. "It's just like last time." "What's like last time?" "They tried to buy you off," she said, looking up at me. "Last time you refused, and so they..." "So they what?" Chloe suddenly threw her arms around me. "I won't let history repeat itself this time." She was squeezing so tight I could barely breathe. "Chloe, can't breathe." She let go, her eyes filled with determination. "A week before the competition, I'm going to give you a USB drive. No matter what happens, you have to use the program on it." "Huh, don't ask why," she said, standing on her toes to give me a quick kiss. "Just trust me." I nodded, my face flushed. This woman knew exactly how to handle me. For the next few weeks, Chloe was like a ghost. Every time I asked what she was busy with, she'd just say, "It's a secret." The night before the programming competition, she finally showed up and handed me a black USB drive. "Remember, use this in the final round," she said, her expression grave. "And don't open it beforehand." "You're acting like a spy in a movie," I grumbled, taking it. On the day of the competition, the auditorium was packed. I breezed through the preliminary round using my own program. During the intermission, Zach stopped me. "Leo, have you thought it over?" he asked with a phony smile. "My cousin said if you use the code he gives you, you'll get half the prize money." I scoffed. "No thanks. Don't be ungrateful," he hissed. "You really think Chloe likes you? She's just..." I grabbed him by the collar. "Say one more word." "Oh, getting violent?" he taunted with a smirk. "Go on, hit me." You'll be disqualified immediately. I took a deep breath and let him go. Chloe was right. His family fought dirty. The topic for the final round was announced. Real-time facial emotion recognition. I had researched this in my past life, but the technology to achieve it didn't exist yet. From the judge's table, Mark gave me a pointed look. I pretended not to see him and plugged in the USB drive Chloe had given me. The moment the program launched, I froze. This wasn't a facial recognition program at all. It was a data mining tool. Financial reports and email records scrolled rapidly across the screen, all of it incriminating evidence against Thompson Industries. What's going on? A judge shot to his feet. Shut it down. I fumbled to pull out the USB drive, but the program had locked the system. The auditorium erupted in chaos as the big screen displayed clear proof of Thompson Industries' tax evasion and bribery. Leo Carter. Mark stormed the stage. You're dead. Security guards rushed to control the scene. In the confusion, I saw Chloe standing in the back row, a triumphant smile on her face. In an office backstage, I was surrounded by school administrators. Explain yourself. The department head slammed his hand on the table. Where did this information come from? I had no explanation. The door suddenly opened, and Chloe walked in with a man in a suit. Mr. Davis, our lawyer, will handle everything from here, she said calmly. I provided that data. It has nothing to do with Leo Carter. Chloe, I stood up. You, sit down. She shot me a look. Don't make things more complicated. Mr. Davis handed over a file. My client is in possession of substantial evidence of illegal activities by Thompson Industries. We sincerely apologize for today's incident. The department head's face grew paler as he read through the file. This is extremely serious. Outside the office, I grabbed Chloe's arm. What the hell are you doing? Getting revenge, she said, her eyes blazing. Last time, they got you disqualified and framed you for plagiarism. They ruined your reputation. My heart pounded. How did you know that? I had never told a soul. I told you I was always watching you, she said softly, even in the years after we were apart. I wanted to ask more, but my phone rang. It was my roommate. Leo, get back to the dorm. Someone broke in and is smashing everything. By the time Chloe and I arrived, the room was a wreck. My laptop was shattered, and black ink had been thrown all over my bed. It was Zach, my roommate, Barry said, still shaken. He came with a bunch of guys, said he was going to teach you a lesson. Chloe's face was like stone. She pulled out her phone and dialed a number. Dad, it's me. You can make your move now. I was dumbfounded. Who? Who did you just call? My dad, she said, calmly ending the call. Thompson Industries won't survive the night. My knees gave out, and I sat on the edge of my bed. Chloe, who are you? She knelt and took my hand. Do you believe me now? What they did to you last time was so much worse than this. Like what? Like, her eyes suddenly welled up with tears. Like sabotaging your job interviews so you couldn't find work. Like poaching your entire team right after you started your own company. I stared at her, stunned. You know, about all of that. I know everything, she said, her lip trembling. Watching you get knocked down again and again, and not being able to do anything. That feeling, I finally understood what she meant when she said, I'll protect you this time. That night, the news broke that Thompson Industries was under investigation for multiple felonies. Their stock plummeted. The campus forums exploded. Zach and Mark Thompson were whisked away by their families in the middle of the night. My roommates looked at me with a new sense of awe. Leo, your girlfriend's family. What's their deal? I smiled grimly. I'd like to know that myself. Chloe asked me to meet her by the lake. In the moonlight, she handed me a small journal. My rebirth diary, she said. You'll understand everything after you read this. I opened to the first page, September 15th, 2018. The car crash. My biggest regret before I died was not being able to protect him. The second page. Woke up and I was back in high school. The first thing I did was look for him. My hands trembled as I turned the pages. The diary chronicled every failure and setback from my past life, and the Thompson family was behind almost all of them. The last entry read, This time, I will be the one to protect you, even if it means making an enemy of the whole world. I looked up at her and saw that tears were streaming down her face. Chloe, my throat felt tight. In our past life, were we to each other? She wiped her tears. Guess. Classmates. Guess again. Friends. Keep guessing. My heart hammered against my ribs. Don't tell me. We were. You idiot, she said, throwing herself into my arms. You had a crush on me for 10 years, and I had a crush on you for 12. What do you think we were? My brain short-circuited. Under the moonlight, she tilted her face up and gently kissed my lips. The news of Thompson Industries' collapse swept through campus like a wildfire. Whenever I walked around, I felt like everyone was pointing and whispering. Look, that's Chloe Anderson's boyfriend. I heard he's the one who took down the Thompson family. Should be quiet. The guy has powerful connections. I kept my head down and quickened my pace, only to be yanked into an alley. It was Chloe, wearing a baseball cap and a face mask like some kind of secret agent. Don't use the main entrance, she said in a low voice. Before Zach left, he swore he'd get revenge on you. My heart tightened. He'd actually dare to come back. A corner dog will bite, she said, handing me a new phone. Use this. It's encrypted. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Is that really necessary? It is, she said, her expression serious. This is when he started playing dirty last time. As if on cue, my old phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number showed a grainy, long-distance photo of me and Chloe kissing by the lake. The caption read, "Trash belongs with trash." My hand shook with anger. That son of a bitch. Chloe, however, was unervingly calm. Just like last time, she said, taking the phone and tapping away. I've got the IP address. A cyber cafe near the back gate of the school. What now? Call the police. No, she said, her eyes narrowing. We'll set a trap. That afternoon, a post exploded on the campus forum. Shocking. Leo Carter's award-winning program was plagiarized. The post included a few blurry screenshots of code, claiming I had stolen the work of some famous international programmer. The comment section blew up instantly. I knew it. How could a freshman write something like that? I heard he cheats on his homework too. I guess the great Chloe Anderson doesn't have such great taste in men after all. I was shaking with rage. That's not even my code. Of course it isn't, Chloe said calmly, typing on her laptop. This is all Zach's doing. She pulled up a security feed showing Zach at an off-campus print shop, fabricating the evidence. How did you get this footage? I installed a Trojan on his phone, she said casually. And now, time to spring the trap. 10 minutes later, a new thread appeared on the forum. The truth about Leo Carter's plagiarism, with full video of Zach Thompson fabricating evidence. The video showed Zach on the phone, saying, just alter the code a bit, say he stole it. I don't care how much it costs. The public opinion flipped in an instant. My phone started vibrating nonstop with messages of apology and support. Chloe cocked her head smugly. So feel better? I looked at her sparkling eyes and was suddenly overcome with the urge to kiss her. So I did. MMPH. She was caught off guard, and her ears turned bright red. Getting bold, are we? Learn from the best, I said, ruffling her hair. Thank you for protecting me again. Her eyes shone. Anytime, my personal programmer. I thought the drama was over, but a bigger storm was brewing. The next morning, my roommate shook me awake. Leo, big trouble. The headline on the campus news site read, Billionaire heiress playing with a poor boy, Chloe Anderson spotted with mysterious tycoon. The photo showed Chloe at a fancy restaurant with a man in a suit, the two of them raising their glasses in a toast. This, my head was spinning. It's fake. Chloe burst into our dorm room and snatched the phone. This was from dinner with my dad last week. Someone photoshopped the son of the Chun family over him. I looked closely and could see the sloppy editing. But the damage was done. The comments were vicious. The rich really know how to play games. Guess Leo Carter got dumped. They were from different worlds. It was bound to happen. Chloe was furious. Zach Thompson, I'm going to kill him. I, on the other hand, had calmed down. Easy. The more we deny it, the more people will believe it. Then what do we do? I thought for a moment and had an idea. Can I borrow your dad for a minute? That afternoon, the official Anderson Corp. Twitter account released a statement. A formal declaration regarding malicious online rumors, complete with the original, unedited photo and a warning of legal action. But the real kicker was when Charles Anderson himself retweeted it with the caption, My future son-in-law is an outstanding young man. Certain people should stop wasting their time. Twitter exploded. My phone was once again bombarded with messages, but this time they were different. Leo, you're the officially endorsed son-in-law. Don't forget us when you're rich and famous. Is Anderson Corp. hiring programmers? Chloe stared at me, dumbfounded. When did you get my dad's number? Last night, I said with an innocent blink. I asked him for advice on how to win you back. Her face turned red. Who said you needed to win me back? I'm the one chasing you. So, should I chase you now? No. She lunged at me, playfully choking me again. In this life, I have to be the one to chase you. We were wrestling like idiots and didn't notice someone standing in the doorway, Zach Thompson. Having fun, his cold voice made us both freeze. I instinctively moved Chloe behind me. You're back. Just came to say goodbye, he said with a chilling smile. And to share some good news, the Chun family has taken me in. Chloe's expression changed. Chun Industries? That's right, Zach said smugly. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Your father should understand that. He turned to leave, then looked back. Oh, and Leo, that startup business plan of yours. It's pretty good. The blood drained from my face. I did have an unfinished business plan on my computer, but I'd never shown it to anyone. After Zach left, Chloe immediately opened her laptop. I need to look into Chun Industries. Wait, I said, putting my hand on hers. This time, let me protect you. She froze. I opened my own computer and launched a hidden program. Actually, I hacked Zach's phone a while ago. On the screen was a chat log between Zach and the heir of the Chun family. The contents were shocking. They were planning to use my startup idea for an illegal data selling operation. Chloe's eyes widened. When did you? I learned from you, I said, scratching my head sheepishly, though my skills aren't as good. She suddenly threw her arms around me. Leo Carter, you're so cool. I blushed as I accepted her hug, but my heart felt heavy. Chun Industries was a much tougher opponent than the Thompson family. In my past life, my startup failed because of them. Don't worry, Chloe said, as if reading my mind. We're prepared this time. She pulled a USB drive from her bag. This is all the dirt I've gathered on the Chun family. It's enough to put them away for a long time. As I took the drive, a question popped into my head. Chloe, what was the first thing you did after you were reborn? She winked. Hacked into the databases of every major corporation. Just kidding, she said, leaning her head on my shoulder. The first thing I did was look for you. I found you still taking programming classes at the rec center and waited for you every day after class. A warmth spread through my chest. And then, she blushed. I secretly took a lot of pictures of you and saved them in an encrypted folder. Wait, you have that habit too. You're the one who secretly took pictures of me last time, she said, completely justified. It's called poetic justice. I had no comeback, so I just held her tighter. That night, we were huddled in a corner of the library, planning our next move. Chloe's phone rang, and her face grew pale as she listened. What is it? I whispered. She hung up, her voice trembling. My dad said, Chun Industries made their move. They bribed the university administration and are trying to get you expelled. I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. On what grounds? They're saying you cheated in the competition, she said, biting her lip. The exact same tactic as last time. I clenched my fists. Then let's have another showdown. The next day, in the dean's office, Chloe and I faced a room full of administrators. The atmosphere was tense. Mr. Carter, the dean said, adjusting his glasses. We've received an allegation that you gained entry to the competition through improper means. Do you have anything to say? Before I could speak, Chloe stood up. Dean, that's a false accusation. We have proof. She played a recording of Mark Thompson admitting he planned to help me cheat. The administrators exchanged glances. The dean frowned. This only proves that Mr. Thompson had ill intentions. It doesn't prove Mr. Carter's innocence. What about this? I plugged in a USB drive. The transaction records between Chun Industries and Zach Thompson. The projector displayed a bank statement showing a large transfer to Zach's account. The memo line clearly read, for handling L.C. The room erupted in murmurs. The dean wiped sweat from his brow. This matter requires further investigation. No investigation needed. The door swung open and Charles Anderson walked in with a team of lawyers. I've already contacted the Board of Regents and the media. The scene that followed was surreal. Chloe's dad produced a mountain of documents proving years of underhanded dealings by Chun Industries within the university. The administrators turned pale and offered profuse apologies. Walking out of the administration building, my legs still felt weak. "Mr. Anderson, thank you." "Don't thank me yet," Charles Anderson said, sizing me up. "If my daughter hadn't threatened to disown herself, I wouldn't have bothered with a kid like you." "Dad," Chloe stomped her foot. Charles Anderson suddenly smiled. "But you've got guts going up against the Chins." He clapped me on the shoulder. "Come over for dinner this weekend." I nodded, flattered, only realizing after he'd left to ask Chloe, "Wait, when did you threaten to disown yourself?" "I didn't," she said, sticking her tongue out. "I told him if he didn't help you, I'd marry the Chun family's son." "Kidding," she said, linking her arm through mine. "Actually, my dad has wanted to take down Chun Industries for a while. This was just the perfect opportunity." I looked at her sly smile and suddenly felt that with her by my side, I could face anything. However, fate always has a cruel sense of humor. That night, as I was coding in my dorm, I got a call from the hospital. "Is this Leo Carter? Chloe Anderson has been in a car accident." 7 inches that instant, my world shattered. When I got to the hospital, Chloe had already been wheeled into surgery. In the hallway, Charles Anderson stood like a statue, his suit stained with blood. Mr. Anderson." My voice trembled. "Chloe, Someone tampered with the brakes," he said, his voice hoarse. "Just like last time." I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. You know about the rebirth too?" Charles Anderson finally looked at me, his eyes filled with a complex emotion. "That girl told me everything the day she woke up," he said with a grim smile. "And she made me swear that I would help you, no matter what, in this life." The light above the operating room door stayed on. I collapsed onto a bench, my mind a chaotic mess. Chloe was in a car accident in the past life, too. When? Why had she never mentioned it? A nurse handed me a plastic bag. "These are the patient's personal effects." I took it numbly. Chloe's phone screen was cracked, but it still worked. I unlocked it with her fingerprint. The wallpaper was a photo of me, asleep in a library, taken from an angle that could only be a candid shot. Her photo album was filled with pictures of me, in class, eating, even yawning. The oldest one dated back to high school, from before I was reborn. "That girl," Charles Anderson sighed. "She started following you the day she came back." My nose stung. I kept scrolling. There was an encrypted note in her memo app. The password hint was my favorite day. On a whim, I typed in today's date. Wrong. I tried the date of our rebirth. Still wrong. "Try the day she first met you," Charles Anderson said suddenly. I entered the date we met at the community center. It unlocked. The note contained only one sentence. July 12th, 2005. Community Center Computer Camp. The dummy who stole my gushers. Tears splashed onto the screen. She remembered something so small for over a decade. There was also a journal app in a folder. I opened the most recent entry, dated this afternoon. Chun Industries has made their move, just like last time, but I won't let anyone hurt Leo this time. Even if it means paying the same price. The same price? What did that mean? I scrolled back, finding an entry from 2 years ago. I finally found him today. I waited outside the community center for a week, and I finally saw my little dummy. He's still so cute, clutching that model motherboard. But I won't miss my chance this time. I'm going to be the one to make the first move, to make him fall in love with me. And further back, the entry from the day she was reborn, I'm back. I'm back in 2005. Thank God for giving me a second chance. I have to protect Leo this time. I can't let the tragedy of our past life happen again. Wait, Leo is only 7 right now. I let out a choked laugh. So the first thing Chloe did after being reborn was go find 7-year-old me. This was some next-level devotion. I kept searching and found a hidden entry titled, "The Truth About My Past Life." Everyone thought I died in a car accident. That's not true. That day, I got a tip that Chun Industries had sent someone to kill Leo. I drove to warn him, and then the entry ended there. My hand started to shake. So, in our past life, Chloe died trying to save me. And what happened to me? The light above turned off. A doctor came out. The surgery was successful, but she needs to be monitored for 48 hours. I let out a long breath, and my legs gave out, sending me to my knees. I spent the entire night outside the ICU. In the early hours of the morning, a nurse whispered, "You can go in and see her, but don't wake her." Chloe lay peacefully, her face as white as a sheet. I gently took her hand and noticed a small tattoo on the inside of her wrist. LC. L and C. Leo and Chloe? You dummy. My throat tightened. When did you get this? The day after I came back, she whispered, her voice weak. I jumped. You're awake. Yeah. She managed a faint smile. Feels like I've died once already. Don't say that. I squeezed her hand. You promised you'd protect me for the rest of our lives. I'm sorry. A tear slid from the corner of her eye. I almost broke my promise. I bent down and kissed her hand. Now it's my turn to protect you. After the doctor confirmed Chloe was recovering well, I had time to finish reading her journal, finally piecing together the truth of our past life. It turned out that in our first life, Chloe was the sole heiress to the Anderson Corporation. We fell in love in college, but her family was vehemently against our relationship. To hurt her family, Chun Industries came after me. Chloe died trying to save me, and after losing her, I fell into a deep depression and wasted the rest of my life. So, I looked at Chloe in her hospital bed, my heart aching. We were really together last time. She nodded faintly. Our junior year. You finally worked up the courage to ask me out. And then, her eyes dimmed. My dad forced me to go study abroad, and you were framed by Chun Industries. By the time I managed to sneak back into the country, you got in an accident trying to save me. I finished for her, my voice cracking. And I never even knew you died for me. She reached up to wipe my tears. It's all in the past. This time is different. Of course it's different, I said through gritted teeth. Chun Industries is going to pay. Chloe suddenly struggled to sit up. No, you can't go after them alone. Don't worry, I said, gently pushing her back down. I won't be reckless. On the day she was discharged, the Anderson family sent an armored SUV to pick us up. Chloe, bundled up like a teddy bear, insisted on leaning on my shoulder. Don't use this as an excuse to get handsy, I teased, though my arm was wrapped tightly around her. I will, she said playfully. Think of all the times you got handsy last time. Hey, you were the one who... Charles Anderson cleared his throat from the front seat. Behave, you two. We immediately fell silent, like two kids caught misbehaving. Back at her house, Chloe pulled me into the study conspiratorially. I want to show you something. On the computer screen was a complex program interface. This is a backdoor into Chun financial system, she said, her eyes shining. They've been using this system to launder money for over a decade. I examined the code and drew in a sharp breath. If this gets out, it's enough to put them in prison for life, she said smugly. It took me 3 months undercover to get it. Undercover? My voice cracked. When did you? Last summer, she said, sticking her tongue out. I pretended to be a summer intern. I was so angry I could feel my liver ache. Chloe, do you have any idea how dangerous that was? Of course, she said, unfazed. But it was worth it. I was helpless against her. All I could do was pull her into a hug and mess up her hair. You're not allowed to do that ever again. So, are you going to report them? She asked, looking up at me. Damn right I am. Chloe suddenly grew quiet. Leo, you've really changed. Last time, you would never have confronted them head on. I kissed her on the forehead. That's because this time, I have you to back me up. After we submitted the evidence, Chun Industries was thrown into chaos. It was the lead story every day. Chun Industries under investigation for money laundering. CEO taken into custody. Zach Thompson vanished again, rumored to have fled the country. At our graduation ceremony, the university president personally presented Chloe and me with special honors. The auditorium was filled with camera flashes. We were now the power couple who brought down a corporate empire. Nervous? I whispered to Chloe. Not all, she said, squeezing my hand. As long as I'm with you, I'm not afraid of anything. After the ceremony, Chloe suddenly pulled me to a quiet corner of the campus. What's up? I want to show you something. She pulled a neatly folded, blue and white polo shirt from her bag. Is that our high school uniform? She said, shaking it out. Remember, this is what I was wearing the first time we met after I was reborn. Of course, I remembered. In the exam room that day, with her blue shirt and yellow skirt, she was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. So, she suddenly dropped to one knee, holding up a ring. Leo Carter, Will you marry me? My brain went blank. What kind of plot twist was this? You, you, you proposed last time, she said, her eyes sparkling. This time, it's my turn. My nose stung as flashes of my past life, of a memory I didn't know I had, came back to me. We had been so in love. Where did you get the ring? I bought it with the money from my first internship. She pouted. I've had it hidden for 2 years. It was killing me. I pulled her to her feet and kissed her. We could hear whistles and applause from a distance, but we ignored them. So what's your answer? She asked, breathless. Duh, I said, slipping the ring onto her finger. Of course I will. After graduation, we started a cybersecurity firm together. Chloe handled business development, and I handled the tech. She designed the logo, 2 stick figures, one holding a laptop, the other a hacker's USB drive. We set the wedding for the fall. Chloe insisted on having it at our old high school, saying we should have our happy ending where it all began. The night before the wedding, I was too nervous to sleep. I wandered into the study and found Chloe busy at her computer. What are you doing? Still working the night before our wedding. She gave me a mysterious smile. Just preparing a wedding gift for someone. I leaned over her shoulder. On the screen was a complex program. This is a time capsule, she whispered. It's a record of every day since we were reborn. I scrolled through photos, videos, chat logs. She had saved every little moment. This is so sentimental. It's not like you, I said, rubbing my tired eyes. I'm only sentimental with you, she said, leaning her head on my shoulder. You have to find me in the next life, too. I will, I said, holding her tight. No matter how many times we have to do this. Outside the window, the first light of dawn was breaking. A new day, a new life was about to begin. And this time, we would never let each other go. On our wedding day, I stood outside our old high school classroom, the same one where we'd taken that fateful exam, dressed in a sharp tuxedo with sweat slicking my palms. Dude, relax. My best man, my college roommate Barry, patted my back. It's not like Chloe is going to run. I tug at my tie. You don't understand. Rebirth, revenge, a love that transcended death. The past few years felt like a dream. I'd pinched myself more than once, terrified I'd wake up and it would all be gone. The music started, and the classroom door slowly opened. My breath caught in my throat. Chloe was wearing a custom-made version of our high school uniform, the blue and white skirt swaying as she walked. In her hands, she held not a bouquet of flowers, but an old, clunky laptop. The guests chuckled, only I felt my eyes welling up. It was the laptop we used to land our company's very first contract. Don't you dare cry, she said, winking as she reached me. You'll ruin your makeup. I'm not crying. I wiped my face. That laptop should have been recycled years ago. But it witnessed our beginning, she said, handing the computer to her maid of honor and taking my hands. Just like this classroom, our old high school principal was officiating. Halfway through the vows, Chloe suddenly raised her hand. Can I say my own? Before he could answer, she turned to me. Leo Carter, in our last life, you chased me for 10 years. In this one, I've chased you for 5. I'd say we're even. The guests looked confused, but we shared a knowing smile. Chloe Anderson, the luckiest thing that ever happened to me wasn't being reborn. It was getting to meet you again. Her voice cracked slightly. Even though you're a directionally challenged, coding-obsessed, emotionally constipated nerd. Hey, I protested. I still love you, she finished, standing on her toes to give me a quick peck on the lips. It's an honor, Mr. Programmer. Thunderous applause erupted. I was about to respond when the auditorium doors were kicked open. Zach Thompson stormed in, flanked by several men in black suits, his face a mask of rage. How touching. The room descended into chaos. Security guards rushed forward, but were blocked by Zach's men. Zach, I pulled Chloe behind me. What do you want? Just delivering a wedding gift, he sneered, plugging a USB drive into the projector. The large screen flickered to life, showing security footage of Chloe hacking into the Chun Industries system. Let's all appreciate the bride's hacking skills, Zach announced, including illegal entry data theft. The guests gasped. Charles Anderson shot to his feet. Security, get him out of here. What's the rush? Zach dodged the guards. This video is already being live-streamed. Tech Heirs commits federal crimes. What a headline. I clenched my fists. The bastard had been waiting all this time to strike. But Chloe was completely calm. She patted my shoulder and walked up to Zach. Is that all you've got? What? You really think I didn't see this coming? She laughed softly and pulled out her phone. The image on the screen suddenly switched to a video of Zach secretly meeting with Chun executives, planning how to frame me, bribe the media. Funny, I brought a video too, Chloe said with a tilt of her head. Want to go viral together? Zach's face turned ashen. You. Security, Charles Anderson commanded. Call the police. The police arrived quickly and took Zach and his crew away. The wedding continued, but the mood had shifted. I'm sorry, Chloe whispered as we headed to change. I still couldn't protect you completely. You're an idiot, I said, messing up her hair. This is our wedding day. Be happy. She forced a smile, but then her phone rang. Her expression changed. What? Are you sure? What's wrong? I asked nervously. Zach. He's been released on bail, she said, hanging up. Someone powerful posted it. My stomach dropped. Who has that kind of influence? Chloe didn't answer, but her eyes told me everything I needed to know. Chun Industries still had allies. At the reception, we put on brave faces. Chloe drank a little too much champagne. Slow down, I said, taking her glass. I'm happy, she slurred, draping herself over me. Hubby. My ears burned. Hearing her call me, that made my heart race. Say it again. Old hubby. Later, our friend started demanding we reenact our famous scene, the moment in the high school hallway where she pinned me against the wall. Come on, Leo. Barry cheered. Show us how the queen be caught her prize. Blushing, I let them push me against the wall. Chloe, still in her uniform dress, slammed one hand against the wall next to my head and used the other to tilt my chin up. Leo Carter. Her eyes were hazy with drink. This time, I'm chasing you. And then she promptly passed out, collapsing into my arms. Everyone roared with laughter. I sighed, scooped up my new wife, and carried her out amidst a chorus of goodbyes. The hotel suite was another one of Chloe's surprises. It was a perfect replica of my college dorm room, right down to the programming books on the shelf. This girl. I gently laid her on the bed and kissed her forehead. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. The game has just begun. S. Zach, or Chun. I deleted the text, looked at Chloe's sleeping face, and made a silent vow. I would never let anyone hurt her again. We chose the Maldives for our honeymoon. Chloe, looking like a kid, chased crabs on the white sand beach. Leo, hurry, she yelled, waving her camera. Take my picture. I walked over, and she suddenly grew serious. There's something. I have to tell you. My heart clenched. What is it? She took a deep breath. I'm pregnant. What? My voice shot up an octave. I found out 2 weeks ago, she said, biting her lip. I wanted it to be a surprise. My brain blue-screened. I was going to be a dad. I get a do-over, and I even get a kid. Are you sure? Yes. She took my hand and placed it on her flat stomach. Our baby. My nose stung. I dropped to my knees in the sand and hugged her. Thank you. Chloe. You dummy, she said, stroking my hair. I should be thanking you. On the flight home, Chloe slept on my shoulder. I gently stroked her belly, my heart full. Suddenly, the plane started shaking violently. Oxygen masks dropped from the ceiling, and passengers screamed. What's happening? Chloe woke with a start. The captain's voice came over the intercom. We've hit some severe turbulence. Please remain calm. But the shaking only got worse. I held Chloe tight, and then I saw a flight attendant walking unsteadily toward the cockpit, and he walked exactly like Zach Thompson. Chloe, I pointed. That guy. She saw it too. Wait, why would a flight attendant? Before she could finish, the plane nosedived. The feeling of weightlessness was overwhelming, and then everything went black. When I opened my eyes again, I was in a hospital bed, my body aching all over. Chloe, I struggled to sit up. Where's Chloe? A nurse gently pushed me back down. Please calm down. Your wife is in the next room. The baby. I'm so sorry. She didn't make it. The words hit me like a physical blow. The crash. The baby. Zach. A rage I had never felt before burned in my chest. This wasn't an accident. It was murder. I ripped the 4 out of my arm and staggered toward Chloe's room. When I pushed open the door, she was lying still, her face pale. When she saw me, tears instantly streamed down her cheeks. I'm sorry. I couldn't protect our baby. I hugged her tightly, my voice hoarse. It's not your fault. It was Zach, that flight attendant. Chloe tense. You saw him too. Yes, I snarled. This time, he's going to pay with his blood. But Chloe shook her head. No, we'll call the police. We'll do this by the book. The book. I laughed bitterly. Last time, he used the book to get you killed. She stared at me in shock. You remember about our past life? I paused. She was right. The memory fragments. The déjà vu during the crash. Pieces of it, I said, rubbing my temples. I saw you, driving to save me, and then the crash. Tears streamed down her face. Leo, I won't be weak this time, I said, squeezing her hand. For you, and for our child. I'm going to end this myself. She looked at me, her expression shifting from shock to resolve. Okay, but we do it together. After being discharged, we went straight to the police. The detective in charge was dismissive. We verified the flight attendant's identity. He's clean. As for this Zach Thompson you mentioned, do you have any proof? What about the security footage? I pressed. The cockpit voice recorder. That's classified information, the detective said, closing his file. We'll look into it. You can go home now. Outside the station, Chloe sneered. Just like last time. The system protects its own. Then we'll investigate it ourselves, I said, pulling out my phone. Remember that old hacker forum from college? Her eyes lit up. You mean? That night, we hacked into the airline servers. And there it was, the flight attendant's employee record was a fake. Even more damning, we found Zach Thompson's travel records. The day before the crash, he had flown to Thailand. Thailand, Chloe frowned. Chun Industries has a branch there. The pieces were coming together. We dug deeper and discovered that the Chins had been laundering money through their Thai subsidiary, and Zach was their key contact. Got it, Chloe suddenly exclaimed. Transaction records. On the screen was a massive wire transfer from Chun Industries to Zach, with a memo line. Clean up. This is the proof, I said, saving the file. Let's see them talk their way out of this. But the next day, disaster struck again. Our apartment was burglarized. Our computers, hard drives, everything was gone. Even our backup USB drive had been taken. Ow! I sank to the floor. I hit it so well. Chloe was unervingly calm. No, not well enough. She walked to the bookshelf, took down a copy of What to Expect When You're Expecting, and opened it. Tucked inside was a tiny micro SD card. The real backup is here, she said, holding it up. I knew they would try this. I stared at her, speechless. When did you? As soon as I knew you were getting your memory back, she said softly. Last time. You protected me the same way. Warmth spread through my chest, and I pulled her into a hug. She was right. We were always protecting each other, in this life and the last. With the evidence in hand, we went straight to the district attorney's office. The prosecutor who met with us took one look at the files and immediately assembled a task force. This is more than enough, he said gravely. We will launch a full investigation into Chun Industries and Zach Thompson immediately. Walking out of the courthouse, the sun was shining. Chloe looked up at the sky. Leo, when this is all over, can we try for another baby? My throat tightened. Yes. And this time, I'll protect you both. She leaned her head on my shoulder. We'll protect each other. A month later, the news broke. The chairman of Chun Industries was arrested, and Zach Thompson was apprehended in Thailand and extradited back to the U.S. On the day of the trial, Chloe and I sat hand in hand in the gallery. When Zach was let in, he glared at us with pure hatred. What are you looking at? I mouthed silently. You'll be counting the days in a cell for the rest of your life. The judge delivered the verdict. Zach Thompson, guilty of conspiracy to commit murder and corporate espionage, sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Walking out of the courthouse, the sun was bright. Chloe took a deep breath. It's finally over. No, I said, taking her hand. It's just beginning. She looked at me, confused. I dropped to one knee and pulled a new ring from my pocket. Chloe Anderson, we have been through too much in this life and the last. Now, I want to propose to you properly, not out of regret or to fix the past, but for a brand new start. She held out her hand, tears streaming down her face. Yes, 1,000 times yes. The moment I slipped the ring on her finger, we heard the click of camera shutters. We turned to see Charles Anderson, standing with a crowd of reporters. Dad, this is great press, he said with a grin, walking over. Young entrepreneurial couple topples corporate empire, It's an inspiration. Chloe and I looked at each other and smiled. He was right. Our story was just getting started. After the fall of Chun Industries, our cybersecurity firm became an overnight sensation. The phone rang off the hook. Our inboxes were flooded with partnership offers, and reporters were practically camped outside our office. Mr. Carter, my assistant, rushed in. 3 more venture capital firms want to schedule a meeting. I didn't even look up from my screen. Standard procedure. But they said they know your wife. Then they definitely go through standard procedure, I said, typing away. Mrs. Carter hates it when people try to pull strings. The office door opened and Chloe walked in, a small baby bump visible under her dress. Who's pulling strings now? My assistant scurried away. I jumped up to help her. Honey, I thought we agreed you'd rest at home. I was bored out of my mind, she said, plopping down in my executive chair. Let me see the project report. I sighed and pulled up the code. Ever since she got pregnant, Chloe had become an even bigger workaholic, claiming it was a form of prenatal education. This encryption algorithm is solid, she commented, squinting at the screen. But there's a bug in line 3. What? I leaned in. Impossible. I triple-checked it. Right here, she pointed. You're missing a semicolon. I looked closer. She was right. How in the world did she spot that? Honey, I surrendered. You are, and always will be, my goddess. Of course, she said smugly. By the way, high school reunion tonight. With a blue shirt. My skin crawled. Another one. At the last reunion, our old classmates kept trying to get me drunk just so they could hear a love story for the 10th time. We have to go, she said, her eyes narrowed. Barry said he's bringing his new girlfriend and wants to have a cuteness competition with us. That's pathetic. That night, at a karaoke bar, Barry was showing off a girl with an Instagram-famous face. This is my girlfriend. 500,000 followers on TikTok. Our classmates cheered. Still can't beat Chloe. She's the wife of a CEO. Chloe suddenly pulled me to my feet. Everyone, I have an announcement. She lifted her loose sweatshirt to reveal her baby bump. We're having a baby. The room exploded with cheers and whistles. Barry groaned. Damn it. How are we supposed to compete with that? In the cab on the way home, Chloe leaned against my shoulder, half asleep. Tired? I asked softly. She nuzzled against my neck. Leo, are you happy? A warmth spread through my chest. Duh, happier than last time. I was quiet for a moment. It's different. Last time was a naive kind of happiness. This is the kind of happiness you appreciate after almost losing everything. She tilted her head up and kissed me. So cheesy. The city lights flashed across her face. I suddenly remembered the first day of our new lives, when she turned around and winked at me in the exam room. Chloe, yeah, thank you for finding me. She paused, her eyes glistening. You idiot. Finding you was the best decision I ever made. In either life. In her 3rd trimester, Chloe's temper was as prickly as a porcupine. She'd kick me awake at 3 in the morning. Leo, I want the gushers they use to sell outside the rec center. I was half asleep. Now, that place closed down years ago. I don't care, she started to fake cry. You just don't love me anymore. I stumbled out of bed and drove to a 24-hour convenience store, buying 10 different kinds of gummy candy. When I got back, she was asleep on the couch, clutching our old high school photo. A week before her due date, our company landed a massive contract, designing a firewall for a federal agency. I wanted to turn it down, but Chloe insisted on leading the project herself. Are you insane? I was frantic. You could go into labor at any second. It's the last one, she said, rubbing her belly. Gotta earn some money for the diaper fund. On the day of the final presentation, Chloe walked into the boardroom in a maternity business dress, her belly leading the way. The entire client team gave her a standing ovation. Halfway through her presentation, she suddenly frowned. Leo, my heart stopped. What's wrong? I think my water just broke. The boardroom descended into chaos. I scooped her up and ran for the door. The client was still shouting after us. Mrs. Carter, what about the algorithm parameters? Screw your parameters. I yelled, the first time I'd ever cursed in a professional setting. My wife is having a baby. Outside the delivery room, I paced like a caged animal. Charles Anderson patted my shoulder. Calm down. When her mother gave birth to her. Yeah. Chloe's scream ripped through the air. My knees buckled and I sank to the floor, tears streaming down my face. We're not doing this. Let's not have a baby. Leo Carter. Chloe's roar pierced through the door. If you say one more dumb thing, I will end you. 5 hours later, a nurse came out holding a tiny bundle. Congratulations, it's a little princess. I took my daughter with trembling hands. She was so small, so soft, and she had Chloe's eyes. In the recovery room, an exhausted Chloe opened her eyes. Let me see her. I gently placed the baby in her arms. She looked down at our daughter, and tears began to fall. She's so beautiful, just like you, I said, kissing her sweaty forehead. You did it, honey. She smiled weakly. Worth it. The day we left the hospital, the sun was shining. I held our daughter in one arm and Chloe in the other. A crowd of reporters was waiting for us at the entrance. Mrs. Carter, have you chosen a name for the baby? Chloe looked at me and smiled. Mr. Carter, the honor is all yours. I cleared my throat. Her name is Lillian Sophie Carter. But we're calling her Lily. Why Lily? A reporter asked. Chloe and I looked at each other and smiled. It's a long story. It was a secret, just for us, a nod to the silly girl who chased a dumb boy across time, a story that was sweeter than any candy. On the way home, Chloe suddenly said, Leo, I had a dream. Yeah, I dreamt we were reborn again, she said, looking out the window. Back to when we were 7, outside the rec center. My heart warmed. And then, she turned to me, her eyes sparkling. I shoved a pack of gushers in your face and said, Hey kid, you're going to marry me when we grow up, got it? I burst out laughing. I probably would have burst into tears. In her car seat, Lily let out a small coo, as if telling us to be quiet. 3 years later, on Lily's first day of preschool, Chloe and I hid behind a hedge, spying on her. Do you think she'll cry? I fretted. Please, she's tougher than you. Chloe scoffed. You cried on my shoulder every day for a week after you were reborn. Hey, when school let out, Lily came running out, holding up a drawing. Mommy, Daddy, look what I made. The drawing showed 3 lopsided stick figures, 2 big ones holding hands with a small one. Is that us? My nose stung. Yup, Lily nodded proudly. Daddy's the crybaby, and Mommy's the superhero. Chloe shot me a smug look. Great. So much for being her favorite. That night, after putting Lily to bed, Chloe pulled me up to the rooftop. The night air was cool. What are you thinking about? I asked. The first time we met up here, she said with a small laugh. You were so scared you spit out your Coke. My face flushed. Well, you did kiss me out of nowhere. Do you regret it? Terribly, I said deadpan. If I'd known, I would have. She cut me off with a kiss, silencing the end of my sentence. Too late, she said, grinning. All sales are final. No refunds. Under the stars, her smile was just as bright as it was when she was 18. I suddenly realized that the greatest gift of my second chance wasn't getting revenge or becoming successful. It was this. Chloe. Yeah. Next time, it's my turn to find you. She froze for a second, her eyes glistening. You promise? No takebacks. No takebacks, I said, holding her tight. No matter how many times we have to do this, I will always find you. The wind carried the sound of a song from the nearby preschool. It was Lily's favorite nursery rhyme and the soundtrack to our story, a story that was just beginning again. 5 years later, for Lily's 6th birthday, we took her to the community center. Is this where Daddy stole Mommy's gushers? Lily asked, her eyes wide. That's right, Chloe said, crouching down. And then Daddy became Mommy's little follower. I did not. I protested. You were the one who. Before I could finish, Lily pulled a pack of gushers from her pocket and marched up to a little boy who was clutching a model motherboard. Hey kid, she announced. You're going to marry me when we grow up, got it? Chloe and I stared, dumbfounded. The little boy's eyes welled up with tears, and he started to cry. Lily just turned to us and winked. Mommy, Daddy, how'd I do? As the sun set, it cast our 3 shadows long across the pavement, like the beginning of a new chapter in a story that would never truly end. Mommy gave me a diary with a lock on it. She says girls need to have secrets, but I think she has more secrets than me. Like, why does Daddy always call her a reborn person? Is she an alien? I asked Daddy what reborn means. He was fixing his computer and said, it means you get to live again. Like in a cartoon. Daddy stopped what he was doing and looked at me funny. Would you want to be reborn, Lily? Yeah, I said. Then I could unbreak the cup I dropped yesterday. Daddy smiled and patted my head. The cup doesn't matter. The people do. Later, I saw Mommy and Daddy kissing on the balcony. Daddy said, "This life was worth it because I have you." Mommy said, "Next life too? They're so gross." I found out a huge secret. Mommy and Daddy are hackers. I got up to go to the bathroom and saw the light on in the study. Mommy was typing really fast, and the screen was full of weird green letters. Daddy brought her a glass of milk and asked, "Any leads on Zach Thompson?" "Who's Zach Thompson?" Mommy shook her head. "Not him. It's the rest of the Chun network. They're active in Southeast Asia." Daddy suddenly looked at the door, and I ducked. I could understand all their words, but together it sounded like a different language. The next morning, I accidentally spilled milk on Daddy's suit. While he was cleaning it, I snuck a look at his phone. The lock screen was a picture of Mommy in high school. The caption was my rebirth gift. What is rebirth? Today I did something big. I used Mommy's iPad to search rebirth and found a bunch of novels. The top one was called Reborn, The Girl Who Chased Me. The author was Leo. I opened it. Wait a minute, the main characters are named Leo Carter and Chloe Anderson. By chapter 3, I was sure it was them. It said Daddy was reborn in high school, and Mommy was too, and she chased him. I was totally into it when the screen went black. I looked up, and Mommy was standing there. "Lily, care to explain?" Busted. I was ready for a lecture, but she just laughed. "If you wanted to know the story, you could have just asked." She spent the whole afternoon telling me everything. It was way better than the book. My parents were actually reborn. Mommy was an heiress that almost got killed by bad guys. "So Lily," Mommy said, stroking my hair, "you're now the person who knows the most secrets in this family." I nodded seriously. "I'll protect you." Today in computer class, I hacked the teacher's computer and changed the final exam questions. I wanted to show off, but then I remembered Mommy said you can't just use hacking skills for fun. I confessed tonight. Daddy was so mad, but Mommy just laughed. That's my girl. My punishment: no ice cream for a month, and I have to help the teacher fix his system. Before I went to sleep, Mommy tucked me in. "You know," she whispered, "the first time I ever hacked anything, it was to read your dad's DMs." "Wow," I whispered back. "Does Daddy know?" "He does now." Daddy's voice came from the doorway. "Chloe, you hacked my DMs?" Mommy stuck her tongue out and ran. Daddy chased her down the hall. Grown-ups are so childish. I've decided to write a book, a field guide to my reborn parents. Daddy says when I grow up, we can turn it into a TV show. Mommy immediately said no. Too many bed scenes. "Chloe, what are you saying in front of the child?" Daddy's ears turned red. I get it, though. On the top shelf in the library, there's a book called What to Expect When You're Expecting. Tucked inside is their wedding photo. On the back, it says, "No matter how many times we are reborn, I will always find you." I secretly copied that onto the first page of my diary. Like Daddy always says, it's the people that matter most.